The newly launched national dialogue, positioned by President Cyril Ramaphosa as a soul-searching moment for South Africa, is already under heavy fire, and not from the usual political rivals. This time, the loudest critics come from civic groups, community leaders, and grassroots organizations who accuse the government of using the dialogue as nothing more than a cover-up for years of inaction. Branded as a space for reflection, unity, and long-term reform, the dialogue was meant to bring together government, opposition parties, business leaders, and civil society. But almost immediately after its launch, it was met with fury from activists who argued that the platform lacks urgency, accountability, and the willingness to confront the country's most pressing issues head-on. For many, the tone of the dialogue feels painfully disconnected from reality. While leaders sit in hotels discussing vision, communities are dealing with collapsing municipalities, spiraling crime, unprecedented unemployment, failing public services, and an influx of undocumented migrants that civic groups say government has been too slow or too afraid to address. And this is where the phrase silent invasion emerged. Several groups claim the state has lost control of its borders and is now using the dialogue as a political shield rather than a problem-solving mechanism. Critics argue that Ramaphosa's call for a gentle, reflective national conversation completely misses the point. South Africans are not looking for poetry, they are demanding action. And yet, the dialogue seems structured around softly worded panel discussions, theoretical frameworks, and polite, diplomatic language, none of which matches the urgency on the ground. Civic organizations such as neighborhood watches, anti-crime groups, social justice activists, and even some long-standing civil society networks accuse the presidency of sanitizing the country's crises. They argue that the dialogue deliberately avoids naming failures, avoids direct confrontation with responsible ministries, and avoids any form of accountability that might embarrass the government ahead of future political battles. This is a silent invasion, not just of undocumented migration, but of political misdirection, one community leader remarked. We are watching the government invade its own citizens' patience with soft language while everything around us collapses. The backlash intensified when leaked notes from some preparatory sessions allegedly revealed a strict rule: the dialogue must avoid aggressive language, reckless claims, and attacks on state capacity. To civic groups, this was proof that the event was never intended to confront hard truths. Instead, they say, the presidency has crafted a stage-managed performance, one that projects unity while sweeping unresolved problems under the carpet. Many argue that the country doesn't need another round of soul-searching, it needs decisive leadership, policy action, and accountability. Opposition parties, though present at the dialogue, have echoed similar concerns. While they agreed to participate, party insiders claim the agenda feels overly choreographed and carefully softened to protect the government from confrontational criticism. Even more troubling to many analysts is that the dialogue fails to set any strict timelines or measurable outcomes. Without these, critics warn, the event risks becoming yet another political talk shop, a symbolic exercise with no teeth and no results. As frustration grows, civic groups are mobilizing outside official channels. Some are planning parallel public forums, marches, and media campaigns to highlight what they call the real national dialogue, the one happening in communities struggling daily with the consequences of governmental paralysis. For now, Ramaphosa maintains that the dialogue will produce meaningful solutions. But the public mood suggests otherwise. The early backlash has already cast a long shadow over the process, raising fears that this national dialogue, like many before it, may ultimately be remembered not for its goals, but for its failure to confront South Africa's crisis with the honesty and urgency the moment demands.